Alright, here's a first look at the Shimano 105 right shift lever. It's the ST 5700R and it's 10 speed, and I got the black version. It's supposed to be for road, and this might be the cable. That's PTFE, and there should be a reach adjust, and it says new Super SLR Shimano Linear Response SIS Shimano Index System. It does say here product of Japan, so if it is made in Japan, that's pretty surprising. Not much else on the other sides of the boxes. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what's inside. It just opens up like that, and you get the shift lever here, a nice plastic bag, and inside just the cable, so no housing, I don't think. Let me look underneath here. Nope, that's it, just the cable, maybe a cap. Let's see what that is. Instructions we'll take a look at, and just a shifter, so pretty bare bones. English portion of the general safety information or instruction manual is pretty large. When you hear someone say that they have Shimano STI levers, that's referring to Shimano Total Integration. That's what it stands for. So it looks like the included pad here is a pad spacer. There's 5mm, which is default. They may sell a 10mm pad spacer, but that's not included. And it looks like it goes inside the top part of the hood, so it makes a shorter reach for braking. The larger lever shifts from a smaller sprocket to a larger sprocket to go to an easier gear, and it does look like down here you can shift up to 2 sprockets at one time. When you click the inside lever, they call it lever B, go down from the larger sprocket down to the smaller sprocket one step at a time. So take a look at where I think it's a 5mm Allen key is to mount the shifter onto a handlebar, and it says torque it to 52 to 69 inch-pounds or 6 to 8 Newton meters. The housing's not included, but it says a 5mm housing, and the cable used is supposed to be 1.6mm. And it just says be careful not to operate both of the levers together. Installation of this shift cable, it looks like it comes in from the top, not from the side like the older generation where the cable is coming out. In this one, the cable is supposed to come out the back of the shift brake area. And go ahead and pause this and see if you want to see any additional information here. And here's a little bit about maintenance there. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this shift lever in close-up, and let's see what's right here. So this comes installed, but it says 0mm from the distance, and then you can put a 5mm to make it slightly closer if you put a 5mm insert in there. I think my hands are long enough where I could just use the regular without any insert. And this says 105 here, and it does say Shimano. This grip is actually pretty nice. It's not real slippery, so I think if my hands are sweaty, it's still going to be able to hold on to the grips pretty good. And if I put my arm around here, I wear size large gloves. I could grip and pull with 2 fingers. When I bring it closer, then I could grab with 3. And also the bars here, I could probably reach over and grab them closer. But again, I have size large gloves. If you have smaller hands, you might want it 5mm closer. On the inside here, let me go ahead and take this off, and inside is where the cable is supposed to be inserted. It might be hard to see, but there's a hole right there, as you can see. Okay, so this hole right here and the little mount here is for the brake cable, and the derailleur cable is going to be under here, as you can see from the diagram. There's a diagram how to install the derailleur cable. So if that's the case, I need to pull back on this rubber housing for the grip. And since it's new, it's a little tricky, and just pull back right here and push this down. And let's go ahead and take a look here at where it could be installed. I'm going to get a close-up right here so you can see where to insert it. So even though there's a hole here, that's not it. You have to pull this way back, and there should be right here a little hole to put the cable through, and you want to make sure you're all the way to the lowest gear before you put the cable in. Then you can go ahead and slide the cable through here. So from the side here, it's almost like you just put it and it goes straight through. and it comes out the back right here, and then you can determine which side, if you want the left or right side to go through. So I would put this cable in, if it doesn't interfere with putting it on the handlebar, put this in first and then go ahead and pull it all the way through, and make sure you're using a derailleur cable and not a brake cable. And after you pull it all the way through, it should just sit right in there. After you pull it kind of snug and tight, then you can go ahead and put this through here, and if you want to put your hood back in, you could do that as well. Well, now that we're at it, I took the cable right back out, and I'm going to put it on the scale, and it comes out at 249 grams just by itself. That's the right STI lever. The cable 17 grams, probably won't notice a difference with the end cap, and an extra 2 grams for this spacer, and I'll show you how to install this too. So if you want more reach, here's the front of the lever. There's this that you have to just pull this portion out right there, and after you pull that out, this one will snap into its place. So you remove this one and then put this one in its place. So it's on a little clip here, and you have to put a little screwdriver over and pop it off. I don't know if you can see that, but there was a little clip here, and this clip right here, this hole right here, was hanging onto this thing. And with the other one, you just want to do the same thing, kind of in reverse. See where that hole is, put it over that clip, and if you need to use a screwdriver or something to hold it in place, I put it over the clip, put it over the clip like this, and now you can put the hood back on, and now it's 5 millimeters closer here. So this part's 5 millimeters closer because this is a little thicker. Show you one more time. Pull the little hood off. Then with your flat head here, go ahead and kind of finagle it in, put it over in, and pop this part off. Pull that out. Get the other one, put it over, slide it in. I guess a little more stretchy now. And now this is back to regular reach. And you can put the hood, reach over, put that back in, and there we go. That's how you change the reach of the 105 lever. Now you're going to go measure out some housing, so make sure you have derailleur housing and brake cable housing. Let me show you the difference. They could all come in different colors, and so there could be a black brake cable or a black derailleur or vice versa, so you have to always look at the end here. Okay, so the brake cable is solid, so if you look at the housing here, it's solid, and the derailleur cable has, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit and get you a close-up here. So it looks like there's a bunch of wires coming out here, as you can see there. So make sure you know the difference, that you're using this for the derailleur cable and this for the brake housing. They're very different, so don't mix and match. You have to use specifically this one for derailleur, again, the shifting for the rear derailleur and for it to shift left and right, and then for braking, to actuate the brakes, for cable actuated brakes, you have to use this type of housing. They are very different. Stock Shimano housing is typically gray, so I'm going to be using this one. I bought some Shimano housing, 4mm, and I'll be using this for the external housing. So the next step here is to go ahead and see if this slides on, and it looks like it doesn't initially because this part here is too tight, so we have to put this down and go ahead and try to find the bolt here for the 5mm. So it ends up being right here, so it's almost easier to pull this back from here pretty far to access the 5mm bolt right here. Then I'm going to go ahead and loosen this bolt. So loosen, and don't loosen it too much, just loosen it enough where you could go ahead and put it on. If it still doesn't fit, then you got to loosen this bolt further again. I had to loosen a total of about 6 full turns, and now I could go ahead and slide it on up to the position you want. And this is pretty important because when you get the position here, that's where you have to determine how long you want the cable. So you give it a little bit of slack, probably within an inch or two. For this handlebar, let me show you a different angle. There's actually some alignment settings. So here you can see that there's a bunch of notches, and if I took a look at the other side, but the handlebar tape is on, I would go ahead and line it up to the same notches here. So you can line it up and determine exactly what height you want it. And another way to do is kind of find where this is kind of flat. So you want your hand to be here and maybe about here because it's semi-flat at this angle. This part is a personal preference on how high you want it. I kind of like it like this. And also go to the front here and just kind of put your hands on both. And you maybe even sit on the bike if you want to determine where you want the position. And once you find a position, go ahead and tighten down that 5mm bolt again. Now let's go ahead and install the brake cable. So open this up and it goes in right here. And then you're gonna have to line this up with a little hole in the back. So I'm looking in and threading it all the way through, and then go ahead and pull that all the way through until the brake cable is locked in there. So you should now have two cables coming out, one brake cable, it's the yellow one, and I have a silver for the derailleur cable. And you're gonna have to go ahead and put the housing in. So the brake housing I already have from the last time, it's right here. Go ahead and thread that all the way through. So, and just put it through your housing here. Also, another thing to know is if there's double-sided, this is for road, and this used to be for mountain, for the cable actuated mountain brakes, like when you had V-brakes. So if you have two-ended cable, make sure you just cut this off with some just wire cutters. So just take some wire trimmers, cutters, put it near the end, and just snap that side off. After you thread the brake cable all the way through and attach it to the back, you could go ahead and put this in right here and measure that out. So you just put up the hair, hold this, and then give it a lot of space because you're going to want to eventually, attach it to down here. So give it some space, find out how long this is going to be, and then go ahead, hold your finger here, and go ahead, cut it from there. So after you go ahead and cut, you're going to go ahead and pinch the wires, or the housing I should say, together, and then use a piece of tape that you've already pre-cut here. You're going to use this to wrap, hold it at an angle, and then go ahead and wrap the bar, wrap it close to have them close together. So make sure you guide the cable along under the bike, and it goes through the cable keeper there, or the frame cable keeper, and then you're going to go ahead and put it through the rear derailleur and go ahead and tighten the 5mm or whatever size bolt it is. Typically it's 5mm, it could be 4 for different derailleurs. After it's all together, your next steps are going to be to install the bar tape and adjust the front and rear derailleurs and cut the brake cables, cut the cable end here. This cable end's a little long, and then put the caps on if you like, and then you should be all done. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments section below if you have any questions. Thanks a lot for watching, and hope you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.